Every season of Survivor is a story. There are main characters, sidekicks, comic reliefs, and villains. A good season of Survivor tells a compelling story. It will grip you and have you rooting for someone and against someone else. You will want to tune in episode after episode to see what happens next until it all finishes with a hopefully satisfying conclusion. Each short story that we look at together will go through one character's journey from beginning to end, from the time that they are introduced until they inevitably get their torch snuffed or win the game. We will look at every major character moment and strategic move to determine whether they were a hero or a villain and whether they were a good or bad strategist. And with that, welcome to Once Upon an Island. Now, for reference, we will only be observing what the TV show is showing us and what story is being told through the show. No future seasons will be mentioned, as the story and characters here have no idea and therefore are unaffected by those future seasons. All character moments and strategic moves are interpreted with the mindset of what the story is trying to tell us. And with that, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel. Subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing are crucial to this channel's growth and making all of this possible. If you want to do just a little bit more to help make this channel an all-star, then consider supporting us on Patreon. You get every video weeks before they ever see the light of day here on YouTube, and you get to vote for which survivors I tell the stories of, like this one, and of course, even get an exclusive Patreon-only video each month. Thank you for your support.
39 days, 18 All-Stars, 1 Survivor.
Richard Hatch, considered to be the king of Survivor after his win on the first season of the show, was a castaway on Survivor's 8th season, Survivor All-Stars. He completely shaped the basics of how Survivor is played with his stunning game on Survivor Borneo, and his story is the very first video I ever made for this channel. So what does he do in his follow-up appearance, and does he make any moves to progress the game further? Let's find out. What is important to note about this season of Survivor All-Stars, is how the tribes are separated. For the first time ever, there are 3 tribes of 6. The Mogo Mogo and Saboga tribe each have 2 former winners, and Chapera has none. It's a weird mixture. The Mogo Mogo tribe consists of Colby, Lex, Sheehan, Kathy, Jenna, and Richard, a bit stacked in terms of how people placed on their prior seasons, and unlike in past seasons, there is no marooning by Jeff. The players get dropped off at their beach with a machete and a map to the water well, and that's it. Survivor really intends to make them work for it this time. The women of Mogo Mogo almost immediately get together and start talking game, which Richard recognizes immediately is happening and tells Colby.
Those girls are plotting, honey. I hope you aren't plotting with them.
No, we didn't get into anything, honestly.
He says this probably should worry him, but does it?
People are a little bit paranoid, and that's a good state to have them in. I suppose I ought to be as well, but...
Now, unlike in Borneo, Richard this season is taking a completely different approach to the game. He is there to be good TV, have fun, and this attitude has him pretty much being a larger character than in Borneo, and honestly, there isn't much heroism to anything he does here, so like a few stories in the past, anything positive character-wise for him will be listed as anti-heroic. He then overhears the girls talking and they don't even notice him. However, when he says, "Surprise, I was here the whole time," it's all in good fun.
The guys have got some scheme.
I think Colby
feel it.
I think Colby and Lex are like Richard.
And Richard, no, I think they are.
Let's talk about that, since I was sitting in the woods kind of listening to the girl power.
There is too much girl power.
Now, most people would have overheard this chat and probably kept it to themselves or told the men, but Richard doesn't seem to care at all about that. Instead, he gets naked on day 1, which no one is impressed by.
Oh, are you naked?
Wouldn't that be shocking?
It would be shocking. Yeah, he's naked. Okay. All right, we'll be back.
Mogo Mogo is then doing their best to start fire, and they're failing. To be fair, the other 2 tribes are failing as well. It's not just them. However, Rich just watches, and in confessional, he tells us that sure, he could start a fire without any issues, but will he actually do it?
Yeah, I think I could start the fire without even blinking. But they don't need to know that.
We then see Lex working on building the base of the shelter, and Shianne and Rich are sitting there and just watching him. Shianne apologizes for being lazy, and Rich says, I'm too busy pretending to be busy to help, which prompts Shianne to say just how annoying he is being.
Sorry, I'm not very helpful at this exact
No worries.
moment.
And I'm just freaking busy. So, I'll get to you when I get a chance.
Richard is totally obnoxious.
Shianne and Lex then talk and take their turns trashing on Richard. Lex even says that Rich only won the first season because he was playing against a bunch of people who, in Lex's eyes, are sheep.
I love the fact that he's just
Lounging.
lounging in
He's
his
lounging.
birthday suit. He is the king.
He was the king when he was playing with a bunch of sheep.
That's true.
Everyone wants to dethrone the king.
It seems like Rich's attitude is wearing on the other Mogo Mogo members, but it also seems like they just contain some jealousy of him as well, since he won the first season and he's considered the king. This seems especially true considering you never see any of the winners this season trashing any other winner. In Borneo, it was obvious as to what Richard's basic strategy was. Form an alliance as quick as possible with whoever was willing to be in one, and then vote out everyone else before they get the same bright idea to form alliances. It worked very effectively. In this season, Shianne asks him what he is doing and is he flying solo, to which he says, yes I am.
I mean, are you doing this like alone thing on purpose? Because people
Kind
are
of.
like, yeah,
I'm off by myself so people can see. I'm not.
hiding.
Yeah.
Now this reads to me a lot like he wants to come across as a non-threat and maybe he can slide his way to the merge. Now he never says that to us, but for someone who's considered intelligent, it doesn't make much sense as he learned what happens when you fly solo in Borneo. You get picked off by the alliances.
What fun would it be if the king left the first day? Wouldn't be any fun.
Mogo Mogo arrives at the reward challenge and Jeff asks Rich if seeing anyone from Shapira surprises him. Mind you, this is the first time any of the tribes are seeing each other, and he says, meh, Shapira, who are they? It doesn't matter to him, just consider them all goners, bye bye. He's clearly being tongue-in-cheek, which is a lot of his attitude this season.
Hatch, surprised to see anybody over here from Shapira?
Count them gone, Jeff. Count them gone. 1, 2, gone. Who are they?
He hasn't changed at all, has he, Sue?
Now right before the immunity challenge starts, Rich goes completely naked.
Richard Hatch just got naked. Survivor All-Stars is officially on.
Thankfully for him, Mogo Mogo wins immunity, giving him more time to keep himself safe in this game. So far, what we have seen of Richard is someone being pompous, arrogant, and cocky, and I may be repeating myself saying all those words back to back to back, but it is true. However, he is having so much fun in being these things, it reminds me a lot of Fair Play, making it his duty to be that season's heel, and Richard is making it his priority to take all the bad parts of his character in game in Borneo, and probably the things that people remember the most, and just amplify them to the max for our entertainment purposes and for his entertainment purposes, such as going naked on day one and at the challenge. Now on Borneo, this didn't even happen until his birthday, where it was much deeper in the game, and that was basically a special occasion for him. Here, Rich seems to be embracing being known as the naked guy on Survivor. However, unless he reveals an ace up his sleeve that we don't know about, he doesn't really seem to be trying to win, so we probably should just enjoy the time he's on screen, since it probably won't be for very long. Episode 2 begins, and what do you know? Richard is naked. Just accept that as his wardrobe this season, as he is nude more times than he is not. At least it seems like that to me. However, it seems like the perception of this within Mogo Mogo seems to be shifting. At first, people were like, please don't be naked. But now, Lex is finding it really funny.
Honestly, it doesn't bother me in the least. Every time he drops trowel and comes just stumbling back into camp without a stitch of clothing on, it's hilarious.
Colby even says that the scary part for him is that everyone seems to be getting used to it, especially him, but don't worry, he won't be going nude himself.
Bad part is, the rest of us are becoming comfortable with it. That's what's even spooky. Fortunately, I think he wants us all to be naked and natural walking around. That, I don't see happening.
After the reward challenge, Richard is shocked to find out that Tina Wesson was voted out before Rudy on Saboga. It seems like a no-brainer to vote out the 75-year-old guy who struggles in challenges, but it is now loud and clear that the winners are being targeted this season, which I don't think anyone was predicting.
Tina voted out, first tribal council.
That thing kind of blew me out of the water. Tina, first one out. Big targets on the winners. Except me. No, it was a big target on me.
Each tribe was given a box with 3 locks that needs 3 different keys to open, and this is similar to the treasure chest in Pearl Islands where they needed 3 clues to find the chest buried on their island. However, they need clues from winning reward in order to find those keys to open the box. Mogo Mogo got their first clue at the reward challenge, and back at camp, Richard finds the key pretty easily. However, he says that this part of the game doesn't excite him, and in fact, he doesn't really care about it. For him, this is not what Survivor is about.
That's all extraneous crap to me. That's not Survivor. The game's all the interpersonal stuff. We got it! Whoa!
He is right. You don't get to the end of the game by finding keys to boxes. Now, it might bring you a fleeting moment of glory. People might thank you for it, pat you on the back, give you a hug, but it doesn't do much to actually help your game and help winning the game. Mogo Mogo wins immunity once again, and Richard is safe. Moving on to episode 3, Richard is being the fisherman he was in Borneo, except now with even bigger fish stories to tell. But this story is true. While using a blunt spear that the tribe made, he is searching and searching until he finds a shark that he grabs, and it tries to escape under a rock, but he doesn't let go. Eventually, he shoves the spear into it until the shark decides, I'm not dealing with this crap anymore, I'm attacking, and he attacks Richard and bites him right in the arm. Now, Richard then swims to shallower waters while the shark is just hanging onto his arm, where there are some rocks, and he just smashes the shark's face against the rocks until he kills it.
Pound the side of his head with a rock until he lets go.
Listening to the whole story as told by Richard is the way to go here, and is easily one of the most memorable moments of the entire season. Back at camp, he's telling everyone what happened, and they're impressed. Richard even jokes about how he bit the shark back and says, hey, look at the teeth marks here on the shark.
He goes boom for the second bite, bites in further and harder. So what do? I bite him.
Oh my God!
Can you see the bite marks?
Colby calls Richard a stud, and Shan seems to be overwhelmed, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I think you're a stud.
Richard Hatch is a fishing god. It's so Hemingway-esque. I love it.
As everyone is fawning over Richard, he says they're just a bunch of baby birds who will be going bye-bye very soon.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard. Yeah, baby, bye-byes. Each of you soon.
For the reward challenge, each tribe is tasked with building a shelter that an independent judge will, judge. Mogo Mogo can only use 4 of their members for the challenge, so Richard and Kathy sit out.
The love nest.
The love nest, indeed.
And when you've got Richard Hatch on your team, there's lots of love.
Too much love.
Yeah.
Richard says that he didn't want to help anyway, since this seems like a lot of work, and as you may have noticed, all Richard wants to do is catch fish and just act arrogant and make jokes. He also points out that Shan and Jenna are quote-unquote helping, when what we see from them is really them doing nothing of value to actually help in the challenge.
Sheehan and Jenna are helping build the shelter.
Mogo Mogo gets second place and gets their second key to the rice box. Moving on to the immunity challenge, Jenna Maraska drops a bombshell on everyone that she wants to quit the game since her mother is in a treatment home for cancer, and she has a bad gut feeling about just staying in this game.
Due to someone who's very ill at home right now, that's getting worse. I need to pull myself out of the game.
She ends up quitting, and as it turns out, her gut feeling was right. Her mom dies not long after that. However, for everyone, there is no tribal council as Jenna is the one eliminated. Episode 4 sees Richard being the great provider of fish that he is and catching 3 massive eels for his tribe.
Today was a nice fishing day. So I've come back today with 3, meat chunked moray eels.
Lex says he is thankful for all the fish Rich is catching, but as soon as they get that box with rice in it open, he says, consider Richard gone.
Once we have rice, we won't need to rely so heavily on Richard for food.
After Reward Challenge, Jeff asks how is camp life going, and Lex kind of just brags on Richard saying, hey, he caught a 4-foot eel, a 3-foot eel, and a 2-foot eel. Sue's a little bit jealous. She says, oh, that sounds better than the eel you caught from me back in Borneo, Rich, which was just all bones. And he says that was because he was feeding her, and she doesn't seem to get the joke.
Because that was all bone.
But I was feeding you, honey.
That was all bone.
That's why I gave it to you.
You have no bone to give me, Richard.
That is absolutely true.
Mogo Mogo loses the Reward Challenge, but they do end up winning immunity, which has Rich safe once again, for now. It is episode 5, and each tribe has been tasked with building a raft with the bamboo provided them by Survivor Production. While we see Saboga and Shapira put in a lot of time and effort to make the best raft possible, Mogo Mogo goes a different route. They say, why not just take this bundled up bamboo that was given to us and just use that as the raft?
Could be very, very, very simple. These bundles, as they are, will never sink.
But ultimately, it came down to laziness and pure exhaustion that designed that raft, and nothing more.
At the reward challenge, each tribe has to use the rafts they constructed, or I guess didn't construct, and Mogo Mogo shockingly gets first place, and as a twist, Saboga is being dissolved, and since Mogo Mogo won, they get to pick which 2 members of Saboga they want. They pick Ethan, Shapira picks Rupert, they pick Jerry Manthe, and Shapira gets Jenna Lewis, with the intent of voting Ethan out first though.
You get to pick first. Okay. We gotta get rid of Ethan.
Yeah.
Bring him along, Rich.
Yeah, bring him along.
Bring him. Choose him, then we get rid of him.
Back at camp, Richard says that he is waiting for lower tides before he goes and fishes, but Ethan's like, hey, do you mind if I give it a shot now? Like, if you don't mind, I want to do it, but I don't want to step on your toes. And Rich doesn't mind, but he sees how Ethan is communicating and realizes that, wow, this guy is good.
I think Ethan's always playing the game. No, are you gonna go? No, if you're not, I'll go try when you want. Ooh, he's good.
Ethan ends up getting one okay sized fish, which causes a little jealousy in Rich.
You got a fish. I'm the only one supposed to get fish. We have to fix that. I have to bring back 12 now.
So he goes out and catches a couple of massive fish just to 1-up, 2-up, or 3-up, however many ups it is, over Ethan, and show everyone why he is still the king of the sea.
We have a ton of fish here.
Oh, Richard, that looks awesome.
At the immunity challenge, the attack zone from Thailand has returned, but in a modified form that actually works. That has Jeff Probst basically refereeing the attack zone. When Rich gets to the middle and faces off against Jenna Lewis, he wins handily, helping Mogo Mogo get one step closer to a potential win.
Go. Jenna. Come on, Jenna, go first feet. Don't let him get you.
After that, he decides now is the time, gotta take off my skirt. Later on, Sue is bringing a flag back for Shapira, and instead of going down the balance beam that no one is on, she instead says, hey, I'm gonna wait for Richard to get to the end of balance beam past me and then I'll go down it. It's a very narrow space, and Richard's cavalier attitude causes him to make this into an inappropriate moment, since once again he is naked, that no one really wants to see on Survivor.
Good job. Yeah, right.
Go ahead. You got it, guys, come on.
Mogo Mogo does end up losing immunity, and for once they actually have to go to tribal council on day 15. Back at camp, Colby and Lex call an audible, and instead of targeting Ethan, which was the general plan for Mogo Mogo, they decide we're going to target Richard, and they loop Jerry and Ethan in on the plan, and both of them seem to be on board.
Richard's the one we gotta get rid of. He's cancer in this tribe, and he's going, if you give Richard time enough, he will fester and then he will spread.
Colby then talks to Richard and pretends like he just got done telling Ethan that Ethan's going home. Richard isn't sure to believe him, but since he lacks an alliance and is at everyone else's will, he just has to trust Colby is telling him the truth, which Colby is not.
So I guess I gotta go with you. I gotta believe you. I gotta believe you're with me, because Ethan would be more of a physical threat to you.
Right before tribal, Jerry informs Richard of the truth that she was approached, and Richard rightly deduces who it was that approaches her, to vote him off, and it seems like her and Kathy are more wanting to take down Colby for revenge purposes, rather than Rich, who Jerry really has no beef with. At that moment, Jerry is on board to vote out Colby instead.
I think if we go in and we vote for Colby, I'm in. I'm in 100%.
At tribal council, Jeff brings up the terrible raft that they made no effort in building, and Richard makes everyone laugh.
That raft didn't look like it was gonna make it 3 feet in the water.
Come on, you knew we were gonna win as soon as you saw that bundle of joy.
When Richard is voted out, he says,
5th person voted out of Survivor All-Stars. Rich.
I've been bamboozled!
And in a 6-1 vote, he is gone, though he seems to take this all in stride, as he has with pretty much everything else this season.
Rich, the tribe has spoken.
So let's break this down. How is Rich as a character? Amazing. He is brilliant in confessionals, and the way he can tell a story is seen at its peak when recalling the shark attack and how he bit and killed it. I would say his confessionals this season outshone anything he says in Borneo. He constantly wasn't taking anything serious in a season full of people taking things way too seriously, and just embraces being the character that everyone remembers him for in Borneo, but here much more amplified. However, his incident with Sue, while not affecting his run in this game, puts a damper on the next episode and doesn't help the season as a whole. It was a completely unnecessary action by him to take. However, I thoroughly enjoy seeing him this season. Out of 20 character moments shown on the show, 11 were anti-heroic and 9 were villainous, making Richard Hatch an anti-hero on Survivor All-Stars. Now, how was Rich as a strategist? While his fun attitude made him a great character, his lack of taking this season serious caused him to not even really try to do anything in this game. It is possible that he was simply trying to slide until the merge, but we didn't even see him get into an alliance where he was a disposable member. Instead, he just hoped that Moga Moga wanted to stay strong and vote out Ethan, which they didn't. And at the first tribal council he went to, he was gone unanimously. There was definitely jealousy by other players in the game about him winning the first season and being considered the king, but Richard didn't do much to turn the tide in his favor. However, he is still incredibly smart, observant, and his analysis of what is important in the game of Survivor is spot on. Out of 16 strategic moves shown on the show, 7 were smart and 9 were dumb, making Richard Hatch a dumb strategist on Survivor All-Stars. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content you see here, then please consider supporting me and this channel on Patreon. Your financial support makes this channel possible, so thank you, and thank you for watching.